Right, coach. Team comes back for a big series for some trying to build up some momentum in NCHC tournament seeding. It's always in play. Yes, what's the overall mindset of the team and focal points to kind of work on going into the series and kind of get the team on the right track?
I think the team's in good shape right now in terms of their mindset. Obviously, it's been a tough couple of weeks in terms of outcomes, but I think our guys understand that we can be better in a lot of areas, and we just got to get back to work. And I've always been a big believer that it's 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you react and how you respond to certain situations in life. And it's no one wants to be in the situation that we're in right now, but the only people that can control what we do is the guys in the locker room. And we're going to go out and work hard. We're going to try to execute better in our overall structure and go from there.
Energy seems pretty high on the ice today. What are you attributing that to? Is it your leadership or what's been said?
Well, I don't know if it's my leadership, but I think it's important to understand that, again, we control what we can control, and that's our effort, and that's our everyday mindset. It's funny because everybody wants to pin certain things when things aren't going well on, maybe individuals, maybe bad bounces, maybe bad calls, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, every one of our players, everyone manages their own thoughts, and your confidence comes from you and what you do on a daily basis. And if we can all be responsible for that and bring that every day, we're gonna find a way to get ourselves out of this hole. And to me, it's easy to play when you're up. It's easy to play when you're nothing's at stake. And right now, there's a lot at stake, and our guys understand that. And we're gonna play hard, and we're gonna prepare hard.
Obviously, it doesn't need to be said how big of an impact having Josh Melnick back makes on the lineup. For the players who kind of had to step into other roles, elevated roles without him, how beneficial do you figure, even if it's maybe not be apparent now, that if experience will be down the line as you try to keep developing this team?
Well, he's a captain and our senior. He takes key face-offs. He does a lot of good things for us. He plays a lot of minutes. So it just puts everybody back where they need to be in terms of what our lineup and our roles are. And, I think just the way he plays and the way he practices elevates everybody's game.
Speaking of experience, you were in a similar position your freshman year when you were playing here. Are you using that kind of wisdom, experience you gained to help motivate the guys, get them through this?
How do you know that? That's about, 40 years ago?
It's all online.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you can look up the
I'll tell you what, this team's a lot better than that team. I said this to the guys the other day. There's been a lot of championship teams that we've coached here that have gone through 5-6 game losing streaks. That's not uncommon in the course of a year, especially when you play in a league like ours. Again, to me, it's always important how you respond to that adversity and how you grow and mature and how you handle yourself on a day-to-day basis, and how eager you are to come to the rink. Today I think was a real good example of how good the energy was, and how important the mindset is in an individual and in a team. And I think that starts with our leadership and starts with our seniors and works the way down. I don't hear the phone ringing or text messages from anybody across the country feeling sorry for ourselves. And I don't think we should be feeling sorry for ourselves. I think what we need to do is respond and get back to work and do the things that we're capable of doing.
How specifically would you like the team to respond this weekend against Omaha?
I think we, like any other game, and, even last weekend, there's stretches in our games that we played really well. We played within ourselves. We did some good things. We had some good opportunities. We generated some offense, and our special teams at times were good. We just have to be consistent with our effort and consistent with our mindset and consistent with our details. And these are things that we've talked about all year. Nothing's changed. You have to be focused on those things, and you got to be good at it. There's no room. Well, I shouldn't say there's no room. The margin of error in our conference is very small, and you have to understand that. That means every shift is really important, whether you're generating offense or playing defense, everything is going to count. And, I think our guys understand that. We've got to be consistent in that, though.
So my team is coming off of a split against a previously very hot Western Michigan team, and obviously you played them in your barn, or their barn earlier in the year, got a win in the first one and took a early lead in the other one. What do you expect to face coming back to their barn or your barn?
Nebraska's a good hockey team. Their top line is, I think they have the leading scorer in the conference, and their D-corps is big. They play heavy. Wenninger's been playing really well, and they're well coached. This is an NCHC team, just like any other team. You got to be ready to go and play your A game.
Hey, Josh, teams back at home facing Omaha and trying to get themselves back on track. I guess first off, how was it being back out, and how in the flow did you feel being back out there last weekend?
It felt great. It stinks being up in the stands, especially when you're hurt. You want to be out there with all the guys battling in practice and especially in games. So it was a great feeling to be back. Felt pretty good. Took me a little bit to get going, I think, especially in practice. But that's just like wind and stuff, getting in shape. But it felt pretty good. Olympic ice is always a little bit more difficult to play in. But I think overall it was a good first weekend.
River mentioned how he was happy to have your presence back. So, what do you think you're bringing back to this team, especially moving forward?
I think I just try and bring a good example every day in terms of hard work. That's something I pride myself on, trying to be one of the hardest working guys on the ice day in and day out. So I think that's a big thing. And, there's a time for everyone to lead and everyone to follow. And it's important to make things known and hold the guys accountable and speak up when those times are important. So just focusing on those things and continuing to do the things that I do best.
When it is time to speak up, what are you saying to the team to try and get them through this kind of slump?
I think it varies depending on the situation. Obviously, like you mentioned, a little bit of a slump right now, but it happens to all teams. And for us right now, it's just continuing to do the right things every day. And it's really about how we respond to what's going on around us. So we're just focusing on our response and taking every day one step at a time.
To that end, what are some of the things that happen in the locker room in terms of words just to kind of keep everybody on that next day, next play mentality and not get hung up on the last series, the last month and such?
Yeah, one thing I think we've gotten pretty good at as a team is just remaining positive. Towards the beginning of the year, if we faced a little adversity in a game, things would get a little quiet, energy would go down. But right now, just focusing on being positive and just uplifting the guy next to you. Someone makes a mistake, it's going to happen. Just let them know that you're there and that you need more from them and carry them along with you. So that's pretty much the main thing we've been focusing on.